Yo, 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 what is good, everybody? Welcome into Loyal Media Sports Podcast. I am joined by my co-host, Ali, and this is Richie talking to you guys about the New York Jets game that just got wrapped up yesterday. They fell to the Buffalo Bills 18-10, and they fall to 0-7 on the season. But we could finally take some optimistic things from the Jets game for once, even though they lost. Me and Ali will be breaking down the good things that came out of this game, and obviously we have to harp on what's going wrong with this Jets team, which is a lot. So, Ali, what were your first thoughts of this game yesterday? Because, we saw that first half as a completely different football team. And then all of a sudden, the second half football team came back to reality. They had 4 yards of offense.
I mean, it's what the season has been. I mean, it's been absolutely the worst. I mean, we can't have any positives regarding this team. But, what I saw is that, the rookies are doing well. That's the only thing that matters. That's the only thing that should matter to any Jet fan right now. Because you look, in the first half, they used Michael Piran. He got his first NFL touchdown, and I know you were probably psyched
I was so
for
excited.
that to happen. But, they were using the rookies, man. They were using, Denzel Mims got 7 targets throughout the day, and he made 4 catches. And he was going up against some good corners of, he was on White, and he made a catch on Tre'Davious White.
Yeah.
And that's crazy because, look, he has no preseason. He didn't play a game yet, and this is his first time playing against an actual corner. And I don't say the Jets corners are not that good. So he's going up against those guys in practice, but he's going up against a top cornerback in White. And that's why he was pretty much in lockdown in the second half because, look, McDermott was like, let's take him away from this offense. Let's take him away or this can be a problem because, forget about Perriman, forget about Braxton Berrios. Focus on Denzel Mims because he was a bright spot for the Jets. He led the wide receiver core. So
Absolutely, man.
it was awesome. It was a bright thing to see, man, to see Denzel Mims do his thing because I've been waiting the hell out of him. I mean, I met him before the season started for a signing event, and I was so pumped to see him, man. And thankfully, that's some positivity for the Jets. I mean, this is something that they can build on. And, next year maybe Trevor Lawrence can be throwing it to him in about like 6-7 months. So we'll see what happens right there. But
So, yeah, there is optimism finally coming out of this game, and that really comes down to all the rookies. I mean, we finally are seeing Joe Douglas's draft class. I think that's what Jets fans are going to be most excited for the rest of the year. Obviously, the Jets are the worst team in the NFL by a large margin, but these rookies are getting healthy at the same time. We saw Denzel Mims make his NFL debut, and he looked good out there for a rookie who's practiced 6 times in the NFL. And he went up against one of the best cornerbacks in the league in Tre'Davious White, and he held his ground. Rookie left tackle Mekhi Becton came back, and he looked good. He definitely didn't have his best game, but there were some flashes of greatness. And that's all you can ask for a rookie left tackle. Undrafted rookie Bryce Huff is continuing to make plays. And rookie running back Michael Piran, like you mentioned, got in the end zone. So I feel like what we can look forward to for this season, like I just mentioned, is we need to evaluate Joe Douglas's eye for talent and personnel-wise in the draft. I can't really get on Joe Douglas with his free agent moves because I really think that his free agent moves were short-term Band-Aid moves and not his long-term vision. And he wants to build this thing from the draft, which the Jets team has not done in our lifetime. They've missed on almost every single draft, and they can never find diamonds in the rough late in the round. So it's good to see guys in the 4th round like Michael Piran make plays and finally see our rookie wide receiver Denzel Mims. And going into just the overall game, right, we find out in the middle of the game that Adam Gase gave up play calling, and offensive coordinator Dowell Loggins takes over as the play caller. And that was really interesting because their first half, the Jets offense looked dynamic. They were moving the ball. Sam Darnold looked good. He had a crazy 3rd and 20 completion to Braxton Berrios. And I remember it was 3rd and 20. I was like, oh, what are they going to do now? Like, they're just going to do a handoff in the middle. They're going to do a screen. And that was before I knew that Loggins was calling the plays. And Loggins called an aggressive play call, and Darnold dropped the bucket and got the first down. And I'm like, whoa, they actually are aggressive. And then right after that, I realized that Adam Gase isn't calling the plays. I'm like, oh, wow, it all makes sense. But, yeah, so the first half they looked good. And the second half, what happened was head coach for the Bills, Sean McDermott, he adjusted to the Jets offense and basically shut them down. And the Jets offense couldn't adjust to their adjustments, if that makes sense. And that really comes down to coaching. I think that this was a winnable game for the Jets, but it just showed that coaching was the biggest reason why we lost this game. If the Jets offense adjusts to their adjustments and we can put points on the board, we win this game. Our defense played extremely well. The Buffalo Bills did not find the end zone once. So obviously, I was rooting for a victory. I can never root for my team to lose. I wanted to make Buffalo Bills lose 3 straight games. That would have been awesome. And I kind of had a feeling that was going to happen, but it really come down to the coaching staff, and it's just all the more reasons for Adam Gase to get fired. I mean, what was his role yesterday? He was sitting back there with his hands crossed, with his mask across his face, sitting back there like an assistant coach. You're our head coach, bro. Like, you're not galvanizing anybody. You're not a leader. You're literally sitting back there like a wide receivers coach. Like, what was your role yesterday? He basically got demoted, and it was like crazy to watch.
Yeah, I mean, with the coaching, the play calling change, I mean, I wasn't shocked because I feel like that would happen at some point, but it shows that how bad Dwell Loggins is bad too. He's terrible too, and he shouldn't be our offensive coordinator. I mean, those guys, he's Adam Gase 2.0. I mean, he showed us spark, and we were so happy to see that because I feel like we haven't seen anything this year, and that was a spark that the Jets fans wanted to see. And then after that, it was completely – besides that long 80-yard touchdown drive, it was pretty much, it was on and off. They were getting in the red zone. That 4th and 1 that they missed opportunity, that could have completely changed the game.
Terrible play call. Terrible.
You had a chance. You had a chance to get up by 17, and you could have actually had a chance of winning this game. So, these missed opportunities were huge for the Jets. But again, the young guys are working. I think the Jets' ultimate goal is to get the number 1 pick. I mean, that's what they need, and that's what Joe Douglas is planning. The Jets have 19 draft picks in the next 2 years. So a lot of young talent is going to be coming in. A lot of guys are going to be getting away. And the trade deadline's coming. It's in a week. And I think Joe Douglas might be making a little bit more trades. I mean, a lot of people boosted up their draft stock this week. I mean, trade value. So we'll see. We'll see if he makes a couple more trades because, Joe Douglas wants those draft picks.
Oh, man. Joe Douglas is going to get every single draft capital he could find. And me and you were talking about this with what I'm about to bring up even before the season, but it needs to be brought up again. Joe Douglas, a lot of people are on top of him and, questioning to see if he's the guy since the Jets are 0-7 and since the Jets look absolutely terrible. But you cannot evaluate Joe Douglas. For him to inherit this mess that he was inherited, he cannot solve this team in one off season. If Joe Douglas went out there and tried to solve it in one season, then this team would have got even worse in the future. You know what I mean? He acquired draft capital and he signed all 1-year deals and he's thinking in the future. And that is definitely toxic and unfortunate for the now. Like, we're living in it right now and we're 0-7 and it's an extremely dark time. So a lot of people just want to rip on Joe Douglas and say, this is a mess. How can he do this? Why did he not go out there and get a premier edge rusher? Why did he not pay Robbie Anderson? The way I look at it is if we paid Robbie Anderson and he's on the Jets, this Jets team is still bad. I love Robbie Anderson. I definitely wish he was still on the Jets, but his success in Carolina would not be the same success in New York. If the Jets went out there and signed a premier edge rusher and put a lot of money in there, we would still not be winning ball games. And if we went out there and signed a huge cornerback 1 for a big deal, we would not be winning games. So Joe Douglas is holding onto his money and waiting to sign big blockbuster names until this team's ready to win. And he understands this team is not ready to win. Everything he says in the press conference, this team's different, we're going to win. That's just because he's going to give Jets fans optimism. He's not going to be a Debbie Downer like, you know what, I have a long-term vision. We're not going to play well this year. Like, no one wants to hear that. But that's the truth. And we have to be patient. And I really trust Joe Douglas's eye for talent in the draft. And we saw that in Mekhi Becton. Denzel Mims looks like the real deal. Like you mentioned, he looked like a rookie that goes out there. And I feel like if he was healthy all year, he would be right there with the Chase Claypools and Brandon Ayuk's, all these rookies that are making plays across the NFL. He has that talent, and I'm so excited to see Denzel. So what I'm just trying to say is Joe Douglas has a long-term vision, and it's going to take a long time for us to see it, and I got to preach patience. I think that his vision is going to be shown in the next 2 or 3 years where these draft picks are developing and we're re-signing his own draft picks. And like I said, the rest of the season is going to be evaluating his draft class. Bryce Hall, cornerback, is finally going to be coming back in a couple of weeks. And the cornerback position is definitely up for grabs. So he's going to be playing time. Jabari Zuniga, he is on the IR. He will be getting playing time when he's healthy. Cameron Clark is now healthy. He's going to probably fill in. So I feel like there's 9 guys that I can list in the rookie class that are going to be starting in the end of the year. That's going to be fun as Jets fans. We're going to see this rookie class, and that's really what it comes down to see does Joe Douglas have what it takes to draft well? Because the good teams in the NFL draft well from rounds 1 to 7 and even in the undrafted period. And we got Bryce Huff, who I think is going to be super good. So, that's really my take on how I'm looking at this Jets team in a bright light. I understand it's dark. We're 0-7. Unfortunately, Sam Darnold's regressing, and he does not look like the guy anymore because this Jets team is surrounding him with garbage, which causes him to look bad. But overall, it's going to be good in the long run, and I believe that. But the one thing that we do need to work on, which is not even close to being reconstructed, is the offensive line. We have one player in Mekhi Becton.
I mean,
I know
back to the Sam Darnold topic. I mean, how Joe Douglas is looking through the future. I mean, we gotta analyze Sam Darnold the right way. I know the Jets' offensive line sucks. I know the coaching sucks. The weapons weren't there all year. And you see regression in Sam Darnold. And, the first couple of plays, he was killing it, man. He was, that 3rd and 20 pass was perfectly thrown. He made some incredible plays yesterday. And then you look at the bad plays, and you're just like, what the hell, man? What the hell did you just do? I mean, you were having such a good game, and before the half, when he threw that pick, that's when the offense went downhill. It was completely crap after that because, Sam Darnold has a tendency. He has a talent, man. And I've said this multiple times. He has a talent, and he makes plays. Then you're like, wow, dude, you just made that play. That's insane. And then a couple plays comes back, and he makes an awful interception, an awful read. And, he missed a lot of guys. I mean, Denzel Mims was open on a lot of plays where he could have took it in for an end zone for a touchdown, man. And he missed a lot of guys. And he just when he's in the pocket, I feel like he stresses out. He stresses out too much and he thinks too much, and that's not good. That's not good for a franchise quarterback. He's much better on the run. And we said that multiple times. You have said it multiple times, and Jack has also said that multiple times, that he's better on the run. And in the beginning of the game, he was on the run. He was moving around. That's why he was moving the ball. And then later on in the second half, he was not. And he was thinking too much. He was not looking at all his reads. And he wasn't just missed opportunities, man. And that's what concerned me at Sam Darnold. I love Sam Darnold. I think he can be a great quarterback. But it's very concerning for me to see Sam Darnold struggle this much. And it's year 3 and he's still making these mistakes. That's a huge, huge red flag, man.
Absolutely, man. You know me, I'm probably the biggest Sam Darnold stan out there. The way I look at it is, when we drafted him, I just had so much hope that he could be our guy. And I got lost in the hope of, please be our franchise guy. And now it's coming to fruition where I'm accepting the fact that he's regressing. He had a good rookie season, and statistically, he had a better year 2 than year 1. So he was on the right track. And then year 3, everything's falling apart. You can see that he lost his confidence. He's not seeing the field right. He's missing open guys. But the only thing I will say is in the second half, the Buffalo Bills found the blueprint to shut down this offense. They started blitzing 6 almost every time. They started doing man-to-man, Tre'Davious White on Denzel. There was no separation, and Sam had no time, and he was getting sacked. I'm not making any excuses for Sam because he definitely did not play good football in that second half. But these defenses just understand the weakness of this Jets offense, which is basically blitz 6 because his offensive line cannot take on 6 at all, even if it's max protection, and Darnold has no time. I mean, how many times did we see Darnold drop back and he gets sacked within 2 seconds? It was kind of insane. But Sam needs to adjust at the line of scrimmage. He needs to call audibles. He needs to get the ball out quicker. He cannot hold the ball for too long. There's a lot of traits that he needs to fix. So the way I look at it is, that was his first game from injury. He has 9 games left to prove to be if he is the guy. At this moment, he is proving that he's not the guy. But he has 9 more games. If the Jets win 2 or 3 or 4 games because of Sam Darnold, then they will not be in position to draft Trevor Lawrence. So it's going to be interesting. Obviously, the Jets we all think that the Jets are tanking, but the players are not going out there to lose on purpose. They're going out there to win football games. So they're going to try to win, and most likely we're not going to come out with a victory. But you never know. I think that they can scratch off like 1 or 2 wins, to be honest. It's really hard for a team to go 0-16, even as bad as this team is. So it's going to be interesting. If the Jets do have that first pick and Sam Darnold continues to play the way he is, then Trevor Lawrence is the option, and that we're going to have to take him. So, it's hard for me to swallow it, but I'm not someone that gets lost up in my fandom and biased. I'm a Jets fan at heart, and I want to do what's best for the organization, and that might be the Trevor Lawrence route. But hopefully that they can give Sam Darnold an opportunity somewhere else and he can flourish, because I definitely still think he has the talent if he has the protection and the weapons and the coaching. Because the environment he's in right now, it doesn't feel salvageable. It doesn't feel like he can be revived on the New York Jets, because he is so in his mind, like his subconscious brain when he drops back is like, there's someone in my face. And that in the back of his head, he's not scanning the field right because he knows he's about to get sacked, or he doesn't see the open guy. And that's not making excuses. That's just what's happening in Sam Darnold's brain, and that's not a good thing for a franchise quarterback. For a third-year guy, that shouldn't be happening, and he's too rattled. He's too inconsistent. Like you said, he has a play when you're like, wow, and then he has a play where you're like, what the hell was that, man? Like, which one are you? And that was Sam Darnold's career in USC. He was inconsistent. He played extremely well, and then he played really poorly. So, the quarterback situation will be the topic of discussion for a long time, but me and Ali are giving you guys our opinions on that. The Jets are going against the Kansas City Chiefs next week. Le'Veon Bell is going to be going up against the Jets. And it's looking like we're going to be 0-8, obviously. But, like I mentioned earlier, I think that Joe Douglas has a vision, and it's going to take time. But we still have 9 more games to get through in order we can really see the vision, because it's going to be a long road. But what I will say is me and Ali will be bringing you guys the up-to-date news on the trade deadline, because that is coming up in a couple of weeks, and there's going to be a fire sale. There's going to be some players that gets traded that Jets fans don't really agree with. But some players, me personally, they should hold on to and not trade. For me, I'll ask you this, Ali, as well, is Quinnen Williams should not be traded. Every single player in Joe Douglas's draft class. And that's really it. I mean, Marcus May and Brian Poole, I would love to keep them for the future, but at the same time, they have value. So who would you think that should be untouchable on this Jets team for the trade? Because it feels like everybody's out there and everybody's available for trade.
I mean, I think everyone's available. I mean, Joe Douglas wants whatever value any player gives him. I mean, but the guys I would not move is Quinnen Williams. I mean, he's having a good year. He's having a slow year, but a lot of people
played really good yesterday.
Yeah, he played really well, and he's had a couple of good games this year. But I wouldn't move Quinnen Williams. That's a guy that you want to build around. That's a guy you want to have around that locker room in this defense. So I would keep him. Brian Poole, I'd rather have him too. He's young. He's a young guy that's been playing pretty well. I would like to keep him too. Marcus May could possibly be an option, and I mean, I think he actually has value. He's still a pretty good safety, and he played pretty well this year from what this defense has looked. But again, man, I think everyone's on the radar, and I think Douglas is going to answer calls for literally everyone, maybe besides like Mekhi Becton and the rookies, all the rookies pretty much. I don't think he's going to answer any phone calls for them. But other than that, everyone's up for sale. I mean, Sam Darnold, man, I think the way he played in the second half, man, after making only 1 completion for 4 yards, man, I know there's a lot of concerns with everything, but if he has another game like that, I mean, he's on the trade block too, and he's going to be gone for draft picks like that, because you can't have if you want to keep your job as a New York Jets quarterback, you cannot do that again. You can't have 1 completion and 4 yards. No matter what scenario you're in, that's horrible. That's horrendous to have in an entire half. Only 4 yards and only 1 completion. That's awful. That's on the quarterback right now. I mean, everything's wrong with this team, but the quarterback has to do better if you want to be a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, he'll be up for grabs too. I mean,
I personally don't think that they're going to trade Sam by the deadline. I think
it's going to be during the draft. Yeah,
it's going to be, if anything, we lock up that first pick and then they trade him on draft night or trade him right before the draft, and hopefully we can get a second round for him, because I just hope they trade Sam to a team that will utilize him right. I don't want him to go to Jacksonville. I don't want Sam to go to another terrible organization, because I love Sam as a person. I think that he deserves to be in a situation that suits him well. I always compare it to these system quarterbacks. I feel like Sam Darnold is a quarterback that needs a system in order for him to succeed, and that's okay. Not everybody is Patrick Mahomes, even though Patrick Mahomes is in a ridiculous system. That's just a match made in heaven of Patrick Mahomes' mega talent and Andy Reid's mind. But I do think that, I always say this, Sam will flourish in a system that fits him best. So, like I said, if the Jets do get that first pick and we get Trevor Lawrence and we build around him and we do this draft, there is some things to look forward to. But that does it for this episode of Loyal Media Sports Podcast. Me and Ali will bring you guys more up-to-date news on the trade deadline, more previews, all that good stuff. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you guys are listening to us in your cars or anywhere on Spotify, Apple, make sure you give us a rating. We would appreciate that. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching to the end. And that does it for this episode. We'll catch you guys in our next one.
See you guys.
Peace out, guys.